bienvenue à tous sur cette télé de la e-santé, ou plutôt de la M-santé. Aujourd'hui, la santé mobile, sur support mobile, téléphone, tablette, un secteur en plein essor puisque c'est une manière encore plus simple de mettre en contact les patients et les soignants. Et l'Europe s'y intéresse de très très près. La M-santé dans son agenda 2020. Comment et pourquoi, c'est ce que nous expliquera Terje Petso, qui est médecin de formation et qui travaille aujourd'hui à la Commission européenne, à l'unité H1, santé et bien-être. Et justement, autres Européens qui travaillent, autres Européens qui travaillent concrètement à développer la M-santé, pas qu'en Europe, mais un peu partout dans le monde. Per Asvold, il est norvégien, il travaille sur un projet mondial qui implique 8 pays européens, américains, mais aussi africain ainsi que l'Inde, projet ambitieux qui va nous décrire tout à l'heure en détail. Et puis Adria Garcia Font, toujours européen, de la fondation TIC Salut en Catalogne, fondation spécialisée dans la télésanté, travaille pour le département de la santé de la Généralité de Catalogne. Il nous expliquera aujourd'hui comment la M-santé investit petit à petit tous les lieux de la Catalogne. Per Asvold, pour commencer avec vous de manière très concrète, vous êtes investi dans ce projet à hauteur mondiale, un gros projet ambitieux qui s'appelle Be Healthy, Be Mobile. En quelques mots, est-ce que vous pouvez nous décrire ce projet?
Yes, it's an initiative taken by the WHO and the ITU, which are UN organizations, focusing on M-health and non-communicable diseases. So it's a program that will be going on for a number of years. In the beginning, now there are 8 countries involved, and each country has a national project.
Quels sont les 8 pays justement qui sont impliqués dans ce projet mondial?
I didn't need a translation, but there are the 8 countries are Norway, UK, Costa Rica, India, Philippines, and in Africa we have Senegal, Tunisia, and Zambia.
Aujourd'hui, à vous, quelle est votre part de ce travail partagé en Norvège? Sur quoi vous travaillez concrètement?
Our part, I come from the Norwegian Center for Integrated Care and Telemedicine, and we are doing research on more disease-specific solutions. So we're working a lot now with M-diabetes, on a diabetes diary, and also working on home solutions for COPD patients and cardiac care.
Quelle est la différence entre ce projet mondial que vous menez et qui remonte aussi des données, puisque c'est le grand enjeu de la M-santé? Quelle est la différence entre ce projet et des solutions que vont proposer Apple, Google, des gens d'informatique ou énormément d'applications qui existent déjà sur le marché?
I think the big difference is that this is a more wide approach, not just on technical solutions, but also on services. And the idea is to build up knowledge so that you can provide what's called toolkits for countries to develop their own services from the healthcare side, but also from the government side, and also from patient and the user side.
Est-ce que vous pouvez nous donner des exemples un petit peu concrets de ces services que vous développez, que vous allez proposer?
One example would be, going back to the diabetes case, is a diary where diabetes patients can enter their blood glucose values, how much insulin they've taken, their physical activity and their diet. And based on this data, they can learn from their own body how their own body reacts and responds to these variables. And the idea is, of course, to have better control of the blood glucose values.
Vous dites, et c'est quelque chose que l'on entend beaucoup aujourd'hui dans la M-santé, qu'on a eu beaucoup d'applications ou d'objets qui ont été développés par des techniciens et qui n'ont pas toujours pris en compte peut-être suffisamment les réels besoins des patients. De quelle manière, est-ce que vous incluez plus profondément les patients dans ce projet?
The patients have to be involved, the users have to be involved, otherwise we will miss the target far too often. So for us it's a key element to bring in the users, and of course if you ask anybody with a chronic disease, they will say that they are healthy, but they have diabetes or whatever. And I think the point is to make their disease as little intrusive in their lives as possible.
Est-ce que vous pouvez nous donner des exemples concrets d'applications ou de nouveaux outils que vous développez et qui incluent plus profondément le patient?
Well, the Diabetes Diary has been an example where we've involved patients right from the beginning, from the creation of the ideas, and especially in how to interact with the application. So the latest development has been to use a smartwatch to allow more discreet, so you don't have to bring out your phone to enter data, but you can access it from the watch. So that's one example of user input that has been featured into the
Ouais, on n'est plus dans la M-Santé, la mobile, mais on est déjà passé dans la M-Santé, la montre santé, si on comprend bien. Comment est-ce que les choses se passent de manière concrète entre les 8 pays qui travaillent ensemble? Est-ce qu'à un moment vous échangez, vous allez mettre les choses en commun? Et quand tout cela sera-t-il définitivement opérationnel?
That's the core idea of the Be Healthy Be Mobile, is to create a platform so that each of the 8 countries will develop their own projects and their own services, but the global project will bring together these national projects and create an arena for exchange of ideas and experiences. And this will be then brought into these toolkits that will be available to other countries as well.
Adria Garçafont, est-ce qu'en Catalogne, on a déjà dépassé aussi le stade de la M-Santé, la santé mobile, pour aller dans la M-Santé, la montre santé?
Hi. Well, in Catalonia, we are working in a M-Health plan. Actually, it's going to start next year, 2016, from 2016 until 2020. It's 4 years on the plan. And at this point, we are working in this plan. It's going to be the first. It's going to be the first plan, M-Health plan, that it's going to plan in Europe. So we are very happy to start working from 2-3 years ago in the next plan. And the main point in the M-Health plan from next year, it's going to be the digital health, the concept. And how we can implement in the government and the industry, the ministry, the M-Health plan. So all the digital concept of digital health, it's going to be in the next year, and it's going to be all for 4 years.
Alors dans ce plan qui a été adopté par la Catalogne, qui est un plan ambitieux pour développer la santé mobile, très concrètement, on va trouver quoi?
In practice, it's going to be both ways, one for physicians, professional, another way is going to be for the patient. In the physician way, it's going to be like accreditation. They are going to work in put the good and the bad apps for the patients. And in the both of the patients, it's going to be all the applications and the wearables that is going to be useful for them, for treating their disease. And we are working in put together the patient and the professional.
Est-ce que vous n'êtes pas en train de faire finalement la même chose que ce qui se fait en Norvège ou dans d'autres pays, pourquoi pas en France également, où aujourd'hui il y a cette attention des pouvoirs publics ou des politiques publiques de santé à bien trouver les bonnes applications, remettre le patient au cœur? Est-ce que tout le monde n'est pas en train de réinventer l'eau chaude dans son coin?
No, we are not reinventing the wheel, but we are trying to put all the applications, because at this point, at this time, a lot of companies, they are working wearables and new technology, and our role from our department is just to bring the patient the good solution, and also the professional, and we are working in that way.
Alors je sais qu'en Catalogne, vous travaillez beaucoup à l'interconnexion de l'ensemble des systèmes de santé, c'est-à-dire qu'on est sur tous les systèmes d'information de santé, les médecins, les hôpitaux, également les patients, que les smartphones soient de véritables terminaux liés à l'ensemble du système santé sur lesquels on pourra avoir son dossier, avoir des tas d'informations. Et vous êtes vous aussi très préoccupé par la sécurité des données de santé.
Yes, yeah, you're right. This is the best important job that we are doing last 3 or 4 years. We are trying to put all the medical information that every patient has, and we are putting online only for our consumer. But the safety point, it's really difficult to stay public. So we are working at every hospital and every center that it's just to bring the health to patient. And it's going to be in a safety way, and we are dealing with different kind of companies to deliver the safety to the patient and try to all the data. It's going to be by privacy, and we are developed the health folder is the name, the personal health folder, and every patient can just inform about himself in the record and the data, and this data is going to be, of course, in security and with the parameters that every hospital can access to this data, but only the patient has the knowledge of himself.
Alors si je suis un patient catalan et que hop, je sors mon smartphone de la poche de ma chemise, qu'est-ce que je vais trouver comme données sur ma santé sur mon smartphone? Je vais avoir accès à quoi?
Yeah. First of all, you have to go to the center. So you have to do the first step by physically going to the center and giving the update and the login, the register. And after that, you will have in your smartphone all the information about your medical record. And another way that it's a perfect way is that maybe if you're gonna have an accident in another part of the country, you can the doctor that visits you can access to your documentary and your medical record or track. Anyway, if you are just treating in your Barcelona capital, but if you are dealing in Tarragona, it's another city from Catalonia. So this is a good point, that having access to your history wherever you are.
Ce plan, il sera opérationnel en quelle année, à quel moment?
Actually, we are setting the basis. It's almost 70% update right now, and we are waiting this July. That July is it's a summer month, that it's more relaxed, and we are implanting in Barcelona. So I'm really happy to inform you or to tell you in the next month the results of this implementation.
Ça va être très 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 rapide. Je me tourne vers Terje Petso, qui a un regard européen par définition depuis la Commission sur ce qui se passe. Je vais quand même poser la question. J'ai un peu le sentiment que tous les pays aujourd'hui sont préoccupés par les mêmes questions. Tout d'abord, celle de remonter les données, d'avoir une meilleure accessibilité aux données, d'avoir une protection des données, de trouver aussi les bonnes applications. Est-ce que chaque pays n'est pas en train de réinventer l'eau chaude différemment?
Thank you very much for this question from the EU perspective. I think we would first of all not call it reinventing the wheel, because the idea of what the purpose of our work actually is to collect the good practice and then share it with other member states, so that member states don't really have to start from the scratch, but they already have so-called evidence-based medicine to apply. So that's one of our tasks indeed that we are doing. And then when it comes to the data privacy and the security of these tools, that was I would say that together with the quality and safety aspects highlighted the most in our public consultation following the Green Paper on mHealth. And we are really looking into this aspect actively right now. In one hand, of course, we already have the Data Protection Directive. We also are, now the new Data Protection Regulation is in the trialogue between the Parliament, Council and the Commission. But within the Data Protection Directive, there is also the suggestion to look to the opportunities of code of conduct. And on mobile health apps, that is exactly what we are trying to put together now.
Jusqu'où va ou doit aller le pouvoir de l'Europe en la matière? C'est-à-dire qu'on voit aujourd'hui des géants de la santé mobile qui sont en train de se constituer. C'est facile comme quand on est dans un pays comme les États-Unis, 350 millions d'habitants, une norme, une administration qui dirige. On a des pays très importants comme l'Inde aussi qui sont très peuplés, où c'est facile d'avoir une norme. Ici en Europe, on a quand même un petit peu le sentiment que beaucoup de petits pays moins peuplés sont en train de chercher, de passer beaucoup d'argent à chercher des normes, des manières de faire. Est-ce que l'Europe, à un moment, ne doit pas avoir plus qu'un pouvoir de coordination, mais un pouvoir de décision en la matière pour avoir une norme européenne peut-être demain?
A standard on what?
C'est-à-dire une norme une norme de diffusion, une norme de réseau, une norme de sécurité des données, pourquoi pas un corpus d'applications, de bonnes applications qui soit commun à l'ensemble des pays européens.
Okay, when we speak about the data privacy, then indeed we have a data protection directive. That means that it's an EU law, or data protection regulation, which is even more strict as it applies immediately in all member states. When it comes to the question on safety, then when we speak about the medical apps, then we have a medical devices directive that is also the EU legislation, and that applies in all member states. When it is about the health and well-being apps, which are somewhere outside of the medical applications, then there is more area to look into. And that purpose we also have invited interested stakeholders to come together next Monday, in fact, to discuss the question on how to organize this evaluation of quality and safety aspects of apps together, to share the responsibility and to share the task. And when it comes to the standards in terms of interoperability, then that is also something that we really have to look into, and it is possible that the mobile health area will also become part of the European interoperability framework. But it is something that we, that actually is one of the issues that is also highlighted, not only within mHealth, but e-health in general. That how to put these different tools talking to each other, understand each other, and in particular when we speak about the cross-border healthcare, then we have, in addition technical interoperability, we have a semantic interoperability, the question of language, and then the legal questions and organizational questions. So there is quite a lot to do in that respect.
Pour vous qui êtes à la fois citoyen européen, mais aussi médecin, vous voyez quel changement réellement apporté entre la M-santé et la e-santé?
For me, mHealth is part of e-health. So it is digital. That's this, maybe we should call it D-health then. But in principle, mobile health is digital as well. It means that the people are moving. It's that they are not in the same place in order to generate data or to receive an advice. For that, they can use the mobile tool. And for me, personally, I think that it is happening anyway. So we already now have apps available. We have medical apps. We have health and well-being apps. People are using them. Unfortunately, not regularly, not in a way that would clearly bring a benefit today. We have still to wait to get the results. We are looking forward for results from Catalonia, from Norway. And this basically, what I said in the beginning of this sentence, it is happening anyway. So our role today is to make the best out of it, so that it will become, as it is already a part of our life, so it will also become a part of our mainstream healthcare.
Ça arrivera, ça arrive de toute façon, quoi qu'on en pense, quoi qu'on en veuille, la M-santé, la mHealth, c'est en train d'arriver. Père Asvold, pour vous qui travaillez dans votre projet avec des pays africains, je voudrais avoir votre sentiment, parce qu'il y a une vraie rupture quelque part industrielle qui est en train de se faire avec la santé connectée. La santé connectée jusqu'à présent était une affaire de pays riches, de pays connectés à Internet, de pays qui avaient les moyens innovés, et essentiellement, il faut le dire, de pays du Nord. En termes de santé mobile, il y a une inversion qui est en train de se faire. Il y a un continent qui va très très vite en la matière, c'est l'Afrique. Ils ont sauté la case de la e-health pour passer directement à la case de la mHealth, puisque autant il n'y a pas Internet partout en Afrique, mais autant quasiment tout le monde a un téléphone portable et il l'utilise beaucoup aujourd'hui en matière de santé. Comment est-ce que vous, qui travaillez aussi avec l'Afrique, vous sentez cela? Est-ce qu'il y a un choc culturel et est-ce que l'Afrique finalement n'a pas un coup d'avance sur l'Europe?
I think what's happening in Africa is really exciting, and I think we have a lot to learn from the African development, because it's a different drive, it's a different way of looking, so you get original ideas, you get a different kind of innovation, you get new business models, so I think we have a lot of things to learn from what's happening in Africa. At the same time, the hard reality is very different. The huge problem in Africa is distances and the time and the access to healthcare services at all. So there will always be a huge difference, and you cannot immediately transfer the services developed in Africa to the north or services developed in the north to the south. But I think it's really important that there's happening a creativity, an innovation in the south that will be shared within the south, and that will teach us some new ideas and give us some new input on how to think about mHealth.
Est-ce que vous pouvez nous citer, par exemple, des exemples concrets de ce que vous voyez travailler par vos confrères africains qui vous inspirent soit dans le business model, soit dans le modèle technique?
Well, one example is the way some mHealth services are combining mHealth with microinsurance, microfinancing, and then they have totally different business model. And of course, the way that you share workload, that you enable some people to have a role, a key coordinating role within a community. I think that's a kind of service that we don't have in Europe, but still might be viable for certain parts of population outside or at the border between the professional healthcare and the what you call it, the community and the professional care.
Je pose la même question pour Adria Garcia Font. Autant la e-santé, on pouvait encore être dans des expérimentations locales. La Catalogne a longtemps été en avance, d'ailleurs, en tout cas pionnière dans ce domaine. Autant sur les marchés de la m-santé, on part sur des marchés mondiaux avec une coopération ou une concurrence qui est mondiale. Comment est-ce que vous vous insérez dans cette concurrence mondiale?
Well, we have a lot of projects that where the European Union is involved. So at this point, we are participating in two important projects. One of them is it's called mResist. It's for schizophrenia treatment. And now we are just working with different countries like Israel or Scotland and Catalonia, of course. And at this point, we are working with Europe, and some part of these countries just developed the tool. Another one is the medical leading. At this point, Catalonia is leading the medical part. It's the first phase. We are asking the familiars and the patient where the travel of their disease. And at the second point, the other companies, they're gonna develop the tool just for treat the solution of this treatment. This is one of the examples. Another one could be the name is Falls, that it's about the old people that fall down and call the ambulance. Sometimes they cannot call because when you fall, you can have just a hit on your head. So at this point, we have just a wearable that it's able to predict and to know where the distance that you fall, and call directly to the ambulance and the number, and the service just go to your home or your room and take comfort of your position.
On voit on voit aujourd'hui Perasvolt que on a des solutions, grosso modo, on travaille sur les mêmes solutions techniques un petit peu partout dans la planète, et l'intérêt sera pour celui qui va la trouver le plus vite et va réussir à l'exporter la plus vite. Mais les solutions techniques sont en train de devenir les mêmes. Mais vous dites aussi que les questions de santé sont elles aussi en train de devenir les mêmes dans la planète. Quand vous travaillez avec l'Afrique, quand vous travaillez avec l'Inde également, vous êtes sur des problèmes de santé publique qui sont de plus en plus similaires. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous expliquer de quelle manière?
Part of that probably comes from the development in the world, that as the diet changes in India and Africa, they will get more of the developed world health problems. Diabetes typically is on the rise, and that's a huge problem for many developing countries. And smoking is also a big killer and big problem. So developing services that can prevent people from and help in informing and perhaps provide a channel of information and a channel of initiating lifestyle changes. Maybe we can ease some of that burden that's certainly going to hit some of the developing countries and add on to what they already have are struggling with. So.
Serge Pezzo, le mot de la fin où on voit comment la mHealth rend notre village planétaire encore plus petit finalement. On a des innovations qui ne viennent plus uniquement du nord, mais qui viennent aussi du sud, qui vont du sud vers le sud, du sud vers le nord, du nord vers le sud. On a ce mélange technologique, mais on a aussi des questions de santé qui sont en train de devenir les mêmes entre le nord, le sud, l'Inde, l'Afrique ou l'Europe. Quel est votre regard et de médecins, et de citoyennes, et de Commission européenne sur tout cela ?
Well, indeed, the WHO has recognized that today the health problem is the non-communicable diseases. So that is what we are addressing all over the world, and probably the ways to address these issues we can learn from each other perfectly well. We can learn also from what doesn't work. And with collecting this information, sharing this information from the European Union point of view of going out from Europe, we can also how can I put it in the best way, perhaps we can share our experience in establishing infrastructure. So one thing is to bring an app to the country, but another much more difficult thing is to set the environment where these apps would work and where they would have the long-term survival after they have once used. So that would help these healthcare systems outside, and that would help our own systems as well, because I have understood that one of the questions that healthcare providers ask when somebody tells them about opportunities that mHealth offers, that they ask for evidence that it works. And this kind of information, wherever it comes from, is an information that demonstrates that it works. So that is what we are looking for outside, and we are happy to share our experience with the other countries. So it's world in that sense doesn't have borders.
Partager les expériences avec les autres, et on voit comment finalement la santé mobile ne se contente pas de rapprocher des patients et des soignants, mais rapproche aussi des continents, des questions dans ce tout petit village qui est devenu la Terre. Merci à tous les trois pour cette table ronde, et à bientôt sur la télé de la e-santé.